My chosen one, I need you to listen carefully now, because what I'm about to say is not encouragement. It's not motivation. It's not a metaphor meant to make you feel better. This is an announcement, and announcements are not based on feelings. They are based on decisions already made. The hardest part of your life is over. I know your body doesn't believe that yet. Your nervous system still feels alert. Your mind is still checking for danger. Your heart still hesitates before relaxing. That's because you were trained by pain to expect the next blow. But hear me clearly. The war you were bracing for is no longer active. It ended. Not slowly, not partially, not symbolically. It ended decisively. You're still standing like a soldier who hasn't been dismissed yet, armor on, muscles tight, eyes scanning the horizon, because nobody officially told you the battle was finished until now. For a long time, you've been functioning in survival mode, not living, not dreaming, not expanding, surviving. You learned how to get through days instead of enjoying them. You learned how to carry weight silently. You learned how to smile while holding pressure in your chest. And you told yourself, just get through this. Just make it past this season. But the season didn't end when you thought it would. It stretched and stretched and stretched again. There were nights you lay awake replaying everything, wondering where it went wrong, wondering if you missed something, wondering if this was punishment or preparation or just bad luck. There were moments you felt numb instead of sad, because numbness hurt less than disappointment. And the most confusing part, you kept going. Even when nothing made sense, even when answers didn't come, even when prayers felt like they hit the ceiling and fell back down, you kept going anyway. That wasn't accidental, that was observed. Because while you were trying to hold yourself together, heaven was not silent. It was attentive. There were conversations happening about you that you were never meant to hear. There were decisions being discussed that you could not influence by worrying. There were permissions being revoked, assignments being canceled, access being denied. And you didn't feel any of that shift when it happened, because spiritual decisions don't always echo immediately in the physical world. But 3 days ago, something changed. Not in your emotions, not in your circumstances, in the unseen. A file with your name on it was closed. The status was updated. The season was marked complete. And that's why you're feeling something strange right now. Not relief exactly, but disorientation, like you don't know what to brace for anymore, like the tension you lived with no longer has a purpose, like you're waiting for a threat that doesn't arrive. That's not anxiety, that's adjustment. Because you lived so long in pressure that peace feels unfamiliar. You didn't stumble onto this message by scrolling randomly. This is timing. This is alignment. This is the announcement you were never given when the war actually ended. Now, before I take you deeper, before I show you why it ended, what was defeated, and what was secured, I need you to do something small but deliberate. Subscribe to this channel, not because of content, because of positioning. This is a place where truth meets timing, and you don't want to miss what comes next in this sequence. Like this message if something inside you already recognizes this voice, that quiet internal yes that doesn't need proof, and comment, done. Just that word. You're not talking to people. You're signaling alignment. Say it now. Good. Now let me reveal what was really happening while you thought nothing was moving. Because the fight you were in was not where you thought it was. Your physical life was only the surface layer. The real conflict happened deeper. Let me show you. Imagine an arena. Not modern, ancient. Stone walls scarred with marks from battles long forgotten. The air heavy, not with noise, but with expectation. Torches line the edges, flickering just enough to reveal shadows, not details. The ground beneath your feet is hard, compacted by centuries of conflict, and in the center of that arena stands you. Not at your strongest, not at your most confident, but still standing. Your arms ache from holding weight too long. Your shield feels heavier than it should. Your breathing is shallow, not from fear, but from exhaustion. Across from you is resistance,
pressure without a face, opposition without a name. The kind that doesn't attack loudly, it wears you down slowly. This is where your spirit has been, round after round, season after season. And what you didn't know is this: the arena was not empty. The stands were full, not for spectators looking for entertainment, but witnesses, row upon row of unseen observers, beings assigned to watch, record, and testify. They saw every time you wanted to quit and didn't. Every moment you questioned yourself and still took the next step. Every time you chose integrity over ease. You couldn't see them. You weren't meant to. Because if you knew how closely you were being watched, the test would have changed. You had to fight as if nobody was watching, even though everyone was. Scripture says, "We are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses." That isn't poetry, that's architecture, a stadium, and you were in the center. What you thought was a private struggle was actually a public demonstration, not of perfection, of perseverance. And here's the part you've never been told. The goal was never to destroy you. It was to see whether you would keep your posture when relief was delayed, whether you would stay upright when outcomes were uncertain, whether your faith was conditional or anchored, and you passed. Not barely, completely. That's why the fight ended when it did, because there was nothing left to prove. What died in that arena was not you, it was the assignment against you. And that's why stepping out feels strange, because when you leave a battlefield, silence can feel louder than chaos. But this is not emptiness, this is clearance. And in the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what you're stepping into now, and why what comes next requires a different version of you than the one who fought. Now listen carefully, chosen one, because leaving the arena does not mean the process is over. It means the purpose has shifted. Most people think the battle is the main event. It's not. The battle is the qualification. What comes after is the assignment. And this is where many who survive the fight still fail, not because they're weak, but because they don't understand what phase they've entered. You were not just being tested for endurance, you were being examined for containment. Let me explain. There are people who can fight well, but cannot carry what comes after victory. There are people who can handle pressure, but collapse under responsibility. There are people who pray for elevation, but are not structured internally to hold it without self-destruction. That's why your process took longer than others, not because you were slow, but because what you're being trusted with is heavier. While others were asking, when will this end? Heaven was asking, will they stay intact if it does? That's why the delay was surgical. Every extra month refined something in you. Every unanswered prayer stripped something out of you. Every quiet season taught you how to exist without validation. You learned how to move without applause. You learned how to obey without explanation. You learned how to stand without reassurance, and you hated it. You thought something was wrong with you because you weren't celebrated. But celebration would have weakened you. Applause would have distracted you. You needed silence, because silence reveals whether your identity is rooted or rented. Now here's something few people ever hear. The moment the fight ended, you became visible in a new way. Not to people, to systems. Spiritual systems, relational systems, opportunistic systems. Some will be drawn to you suddenly. Some will feel intimidated by you without knowing why. Some will test you casually, just to see if you're still accessible the way you used to be. This is not coincidence. This is recognition. When something shifts internally, the external environment starts recalibrating around it. That's why you may already be noticing subtle changes. Conversations feel different. Old dynamics don't fit anymore. Things that once drained you now irritate you faster. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Because the version of you that survived the arena cannot be managed the same way the old version was. And here is the warning portion. Listen slowly. Do not confuse peace with passivity. Just because the war ended does not mean everything that approaches you is safe. Some things come dressed as opportunities, but are actually delays in disguise. Some people come offering familiarity, not realizing you've outgrown that frequency. And if you re-enter spaces that were designed for a version of you that no longer exists, you will feel friction, not because you're wrong, but because you're no longer compatible. This is why boundaries are about to feel non-negotiable. You're not becoming cold, you're becoming precise. You don't have the emotional bandwidth to explain yourself to environments that benefited you being smaller. And let me say this clearly, because this is where many misunderstand. You are not being separated because you're better. You're being separated because you're assigned. Assignment requires isolation before activation. Every major transition in Scripture followed this pattern. Moses had the wilderness. Elijah had the cave. Jesus had the desert, not because they were abandoned, because they were being clarified. You just completed your clarification phase. Now comes positioning.
And positioning feels uncomfortable because it removes noise before it introduces direction. Right now, heaven is not shouting instructions. It's watching how you move in the quiet. Do you rush to fill the silence? Do you compromise clarity for connection? Do you mistake loneliness for lack? This is the test after the test, because what's coming next will amplify whatever you carry internally. If you carry unresolved bitterness, it will grow. If you carry insecurity, it will echo louder. If you carry humility, it will stabilize you. That's why the refinement isn't over. It's just more subtle now, less dramatic, more internal. And here's the part that will surprise you. You are about to receive access, not attention, access. Doors that don't announce themselves, conversations that feel casual but change trajectories, moments that seem small but reroute futures. If you're looking for fireworks, you'll miss it. Elevation rarely enters loudly. It enters quietly, and then suddenly, everyone asks where you came from. But you know the truth. You came from the arena. You came from nights where nobody clapped. You came from prayers that felt unanswered. You came from obedience without witnesses. That's why what you're stepping into won't shake you, because you were trained in pressure, not praise. Now, before I continue, before I explain the timeline and the mark that was placed on you during the fight, I need you to anchor this moment. Like this message, not for the algorithm, for confirmation. When you take a physical action during a spiritual alignment, it seals attention. And comment ready, not as hype, as consent. Because the next phase requires participation, not observation. Say it. Good. Now, let me tell you what was marked in you during the battle. Every prolonged season leaves residue, but not all residue is damage. Some of it is authority. Every scar you carry is not evidence of weakness, it's proof of jurisdiction. You have credibility in realms you've never consciously entered. That's why your words are about to carry more weight, not because you talk louder, but because you speak from experience, not theory. When you say, "I understand," you actually do. When you say, "This will pass," you've lived it, and people will feel that. They won't know why your presence calms them. They won't know why your silence convicts them. They won't know why your advice lands differently. But it's because authority was forged where comfort was removed. And the reason the enemy tried to exhaust you instead of confronting you directly is simple. Direct attacks build resistance. Slow erosion builds doubt. But it didn't work. You're still here. And the fact that you're still standing after everything that tried to drain you quietly disqualifies every voice that said you wouldn't last. This phase now requires discernment more than effort. You don't need to push, you need to choose.
And in the next part, I'm going to reveal the window that's opening, the timing attached to it, and why delay now would be more dangerous than failure before. This is not the time to hesitate. This is the time to move with clarity. Now stay with me, chosen one, because what I'm about to explain is the reason everything before this had to happen exactly the way it did. You are not stepping into a season of chaos. You're stepping into a window. And windows do not stay open forever. This is where timing becomes more important than effort. Most people miss their moment not because they aren't capable, but because they hesitate when clarity finally arrives. You were delayed long enough. You were refined long enough. You were hidden long enough. What's opening now is not a reward, it's a responsibility. Let me explain what that means. When a window opens, it doesn't feel dramatic at first. There is no announcement, no trumpet sound, no obvious sign that says, "This is it." Instead, it feels subtle, a sense of internal urgency without anxiety, a pull forward that doesn't come with full instructions, a knowing that something is available even if you can't fully describe it yet. That's how divine timing works. It doesn't give you the whole map, it gives you the next step and watches whether you trust what has already been proven in you. And this is why the enemy's last strategy against you was confusion, not fear. Confusion. If they could make you doubt your discernment after everything you survived, they could stall you at the threshold. But listen carefully. Confusion cannot survive clarity. And clarity is what you're receiving now. The reason your discernment sharpened during isolation is because noise was removed. You learned how to recognize truth without consensus. You learned how to sense alignment without external validation. You learned how to sit with decisions until they settled, instead of rushing to escape discomfort. That skill is not emotional, it's strategic. Because what you're stepping into will require decisions that others won't understand until later. And that's okay.
You're not being sent to be agreed with. You're being sent to be effective. Now here's something very important. Elevation does not always look like increase at first. Sometimes it looks like subtraction. You may notice certain options disappearing, certain people becoming unavailable, certain paths quietly closing without drama. This is not loss, this is narrowing, because focus precedes impact. You cannot carry momentum in 10 directions at once, so access is being restricted intentionally, not to punish you, but to protect the assignment. And the assignment is heavier than you think. That's why your emotions were stabilized before your circumstances changed. If things had shifted earlier, you would have attached your identity to outcomes. But now, you're anchored. You've already lost what you thought you couldn't survive without, and you survived. That's power. Now let me tell you something that may feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Not everyone who supported you in the fight is meant to walk with you into the next phase. Some people are battlefield connections, not future partners. They knew how to help you survive, but they don't know how to help you build. And if you try to drag everyone forward with you, you'll dilute your assignment. This doesn't require confrontation, it requires acceptance. Some separations happen naturally when frequency changes. You don't need to explain, you don't need to justify, you don't need to announce. Alignment will do the work for you. And here's the part that should steady you. You are not late, you are not behind, you are not catching up. You are arriving on schedule. The delay you resented protected you from premature exposure. If doors had opened when you begged for them, you would have walked into rooms unprepared for your authority. And authority without grounding creates arrogance. But grounding without authority creates stagnation. You were given both in order. That's why now feels different. You're not asking for permission anymore. You're waiting for confirmation, and confirmation doesn't come as signs in the sky. It comes as peace that remains even when uncertainty exists.
That's how you know this window is real. Now listen carefully to this next part. What you do in the next 30 days matters more than what you did in the last 3 years. Not because it's harder, but because it's more concentrated. Small decisions now create disproportionate outcomes.
Who you respond to, what you ignore, where you place your attention, how you steward your energy. You don't need to rush, but you cannot drift. Drifting is the enemy of destiny. And drifting often disguises itself as rest. Rest is intentional. Drift is avoidance. You'll know the difference by how it feels afterward. Rest restores clarity. Drift creates dullness. Pay attention. You didn't come this far to lose momentum to comfort. Now here is a reassurance you need to hear. You will not miss what is meant for you, but you can delay it by refusing to move when prompted. Heaven does not force participation, it invites. That's why this message found you when it did. Not earlier, not later. Now, this is your alignment check. And before I continue into the final phase, before I speak about the sealing, the covering, and the commissioning, I need you to anchor yourself again. Comment, "I'm ready," not for me, for yourself. Because words spoken during alignment carry weight. They set posture. They close doors behind you. Say it when you're prepared to move forward without dragging the past with you. Good. Now let me leave you with this truth before we move to the final part. You were never fragile. You were becoming precise. Every breakdown refined your focus. Every delay sharpened your discernment. Every silent season strengthened your spine. You didn't lose time, you gained depth. And depth is what allows you to carry influence without being consumed by it. What comes next will not overwhelm you. It will reveal you. And the reason you're calm instead of excited is because this isn't novelty, it's recognition. You've been here before, just not in this form. In the final part, I'm going to speak over you not as preparation, but as release. Because preparation is complete, and what's left now is activation.
Now listen, not as someone preparing, listen as someone being released. Because preparation is finished. What happens now is not about becoming, it's about stepping into what already recognizes you. You don't need another season of proving. You don't need another cycle of breaking. You don't need another round of survival. That chapter closed the moment you stopped fighting to be understood. This is the part no one explains, so hear it carefully. There is a difference between healing and commissioning. Healing restores what was damaged. Commissioning assigns what was refined. You were healed quietly, but what happens now is deliberate. There is a covering being placed on you, not visible, but effective, a protection that doesn't remove challenges, but filters access. Not everything gets close to you anymore. Not everyone gets a voice in your decisions. Not every opinion reaches your core. Not every disruption can derail you. That is not distance. That is authority. Authority is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't argue. It stands, and things adjust. That's why you've stopped reacting the way you used to. Things that once pulled emotional responses now pass through you. You don't feel the need to explain. You don't feel the need to defend. You don't feel the need to chase clarity from people who live in confusion. That's not numbness. That's maturity. You didn't become hard. You became rooted. Now listen closely to this truth, because it seals everything. The reason the fight ended without celebration is because celebration would have tied your identity to approval, and what you're stepping into cannot be sustained by applause. It must be sustained by conviction. There will be moments ahead where you move without affirmation. Moments where results lag behind obedience. Moments where you will wonder if anyone notices what you're carrying. And in those moments, you will remember this. You were commissioned in private, so you wouldn't collapse in public. You were trained without crowds,
so crowds wouldn't confuse you. You were refined in silence, so noise wouldn't distract you. That's why you're steady now. Not excited, steady. Excitement fades, stability builds. And what you're building next is not temporary. Now let me speak something over you, not as hope, but as declaration. From this point forward, resistance will change form. It will no longer come as direct opposition,